start. We are born again. Open your heart. Spend this time in your head.
Good morning, guys. Today, coffee first before anything else. And then it's going to be a whole lot of farm chores, doing things inside of the house. Figured I'd take you guys along with me and we would do absolutely everything together. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about ideas for preparedness. That's a lot of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be processing some potatoes, getting those cut up and rinsed and soaked because right now my husband's getting free potatoes. Why would I not? I'm never going to look a free potato in the eye or the mouth, either one. We have a ton of stuff to do. So we will get to that in just a minute. Hey guys, it's lunchtime. We've been doing stuff all day. We break between 11 and 12 for lunch usually. I have the meat bars, just some chicken with paleo pink powder sprinkled on top of it, and then I'm dipping it in butter. The kids are working on theirs. That's why you can hear crunching and all of that from over there because they're chewing. I have the potatoes over here. They have been soaking in water after we peeled them, and that kind of helps to remove some of the starch from them. Once I cut them up, we will continue to soak them. I'm going to change out the water and let that soak some more. It pulls more of the starch out, and then I will show you guys how to dry can the potatoes. Why am I doing potatoes? Because they're free. And it's survival food. And as Dr. Berry says, survival food, I mean, it's better to eat something than to starve. And I think potatoes are better than grains. So it's even better than rice in my opinion. It's a whole food, it's a single ingredient. So I'm gonna go with the potatoes. We are saving these for an emergency. If we are having a really hard time coming up with other foods, I'm gonna have some canned potatoes. I also have some potatoes that are in the freezer, and I'm actually gonna go put those into the freeze dryer and kind of just show you guys what it looks like to put them in there, but they're not gonna be done for a solid 24 hours. So it will have an entire video on freeze drying later, but not quite yet. I still have to reach out to Harvest Right and see if they will let me become an affiliate. I'm still waiting on that. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat some lunch. I'm not sure what all I'm gonna eat, but like half of this, I probably won't eat at all. I'm gonna eat half of this, and then the kids and I will work on doing the potatoes. So I'll see you after lunch. So now the kids are outside playing. They are, you got it! They are throwing around the Frisbee after lunch. They got the Frisbee stuck in the tree. The kids did a fantastic job. They've been helping me all morning long. We still have a lot of stuff to do, but we always have to balance work and play. And honestly, it's true for adults too. We really do need to balance work and play. If we're all work all the time and no play, it kind of makes us lose sight of what we're going for. Like, what's the point of living? My child is climbing a tree. What's the point of living? What are we living for if we can't stop and enjoy life and have fun? So keep that in mind. If you're getting ready and you're preparing for what the future may hold, make sure that you enjoy the present as well. We don't ever want to lose sight of where we are and sacrifice our current life for our potential future life. So keep that in mind. We're going to go play. I'm going to go finish eating, and then we will get back to some more chores. Alrighty guys, it's been a couple of hours since lunch. The kids have been playing. I had Verenia come out and help me chop up the potatoes into larger chunks. They have been soaking so that we could try to get a little bit more of the starch out of the bigger chunks of potatoes. And I am ready now to go ahead and get them into my pressure canner. So I'm going to be doing a method that's called dry packing. It is not approved. It is not FDA approved. It goes against all canning standards. And the reason for that is because the word is botulism. And botulism, the bacteria itself dies off at, I think it's like 245 degrees, 240 degrees. I don't know. I'll put it up right there. And the concern is if there's no liquid in the jars, then the transfer of heat won't go thoroughly throughout the jars. And so like in the center of your jar, if it doesn't reach that temperature, you could end up having a pocket where the botulism bacteria could survive, and then you could get very sick from it. But there's a group on Facebook called Canning Rebels Public. And some of them have been in there and they've been canning for 40 years. They've been using this dry pack method and they've been fine. So use at your own discretion. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you what I am doing. I'm just showing you how I do it. So let me go I'm gonna go strain my potatoes in a colander, and I will bring them over here, and then I will have my jars and set everything up and show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm sorry if it's a little loud. The freeze dryer is going, so that's the background noise if you can hear it. So what I have here, I have my potatoes that have been cubed. I've got some that are, a little bit bigger, about half the size of your finger. And then I've got some really little ones that were more on the end of the potatoes when you were cutting them up. I have made really tiny little potatoes when I do my freeze-dried potatoes, which I will show you guys that when they are done. But this, I wanted to keep the pieces a little bit bigger so that the heat distribution can be more thorough in the jars because it isn't packed super close and tight together like it would be with a puree or a very fine cut product. My hands are clean. I've already washed them numerous times. This has been rinsed. These jars have all been thoroughly cleaned and rinsed with hot soapy water. You can put them in the dishwasher to sterilize them. You can do them in the oven. I just washed them really well. These are room temperature cool jars. The difference between dry canning and traditional canning is that everything would be warm or very hot. You would have this on the stove, it would be boiling. It's got water in the bottom of it. This is my pressure canner that I borrowed from a friend because I don't actually own one right now. So this has water in it, tap water, cool. All of this is cool. The potatoes are cool. Everything is cool when you're doing the dry canning. So now I'm gonna start putting this stuff into here. Just start putting it in. Then you want to take it and hit your hand on the bottom of it so that it helps the potatoes settle a little bit. And it opened up some more room. You want to leave a little less than 1 inch of headspace. Usually it's 1 inch for potatoes, but since we're dry packing them, you can go a little bit higher than that. So the headspace is the amount of room in the top of the jar. So the amount of room that's up in here. So if I take that and kind of smush it down in there, then we're good. So that's about 1 inch to where this band, this collar, the neck starts to go up. That's about 1 inch. So we're a tiny bit over in a couple places and I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna fill up the rest of the jars and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, so I actually have enough potatoes to probably do another quart, but my pressure canner only holds 7. So I will go ahead and put that in a quart. I'll probably fill it up with water and then stick it in the fridge until I can process it with the next one. So what we're gonna do now, this is totally optional. You could close up the jars here and be good and done with it. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to put a tablespoon or so of butter in each jar. Another option is that you can actually pre-melt the butter and stick it in there to coat all of your potatoes. But I wasn't sure that I was gonna have enough or too many, so I didn't bother. So now we're just gonna put the butter into every jar. And then I am also going to top each jar with 1 teaspoon of salt. Also totally optional. You don't have to do this. You also have the option to put any other seasonings on this that you would like. You can do an Italian, you can do spicy, whatever you wanted for your breakfast potatoes. But I'm just gonna leave these plain, just salted and buttered, so that I can add them to soups if need be. What's really cool about doing soups for a family like ours is that we are able to pick out the big chunks of things that we don't want. So I could make a soup that had some veggies and meat and really good broth, put the potatoes in there, and then just pick out the potatoes. If I don't want to eat the potatoes, I could give those to the kids or even to the dogs or whoever else needed the potatoes. So that's why, another reason I leave them pretty big, so that they're easy to pick out of anything like that. So here's these. Now I'm going to wipe the rim of each one of these with a little bit of vinegar. The vinegar is gonna help break down, just in case I got some butter or anything on there. And then I'm gonna put my lids on, which have not been boiled, they have not been anything. Because I'm pressure canning, you do not have to, they actually changed the rules. You do not have to simmer your lids in rings before you put them on there as long as they get up to a high enough temperature. So I'm gonna go grab something to wipe the rims of my jars and then put the lids and the rings on and then get it all packed in. So this is just a little cotton kind of terry cloth. We got these at Walmart's a long time ago. They came in a rainbow pack. So I'm going to use this, get some vinegar on it, a little bit more. Now I'm going to wipe the rims all the way around of every jar. And now, time for the lids. Rings can be reused. These discs cannot. So these ones are new. These ones are new and unused. That's why they're in this bag. Because we got new jars and I pulled them all off and I kept them safe. So these have not ever been used. They are still clean. They've been sealed up. You cannot reuse these lids. There are reusable lids for these jars. I have a friend who uses them. I have not ever used them. I do not have any, but I'm definitely going to try to save up so that I can get some, because I don't want to have to try to replace these every single time that I'm going to be canning. We're just going to do it finger tight. I'm not going to really crank it over. Come back, friend. And now I'm going to fit them all down inside the pressure cooker. There is about 1.5 inches of water in the bottom of the pressure cooker. I'm going to put all of these in here. This is actually a lot lighter since they don't have any liquid inside of them. I'm just setting those in there. When you're pressure canning, you don't want water to be over the top of the jars. Okay. And there they are. This one holds 7 quarts, which is why I'll have to put these into another quart and then save them, try to keep them from turning brown. I'll get them back in water here pretty quickly. So I'm going to go put this on top of the stove, and I am going to put this on a low heat for 10 minutes so that it slowly builds up the temperature on the inside of the jar, the outside of the jar, the water, the pressure canner, everything starts to come up together slowly. I want to increase the temperature of everything at the same time. So you don't want to put it on high and just jump it up, because the outside's going to get too hot and the insides are going to be too cold. That's going to end up with you having broken jars and wasted food. So I'm going to go set this on the stove. We're going to start it on low, and then I'm going to let it vent for 10 minutes. When I say vent, that's this little guy right here. This little guy right here. This is going to be spewing some steam for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to put my little weight on it. It's a 10-pound weight. This gauge is a little off. This poor pressure cooker is like 20 years old. So the gauge is a little bit off, but we're going to cook these at 10 PSI for 40 minutes. Now, when you are canning, you need to understand at what temperatures and for how long you need to can for your altitude. Different altitudes require different times and possibly even different pressures in some cases. So make sure that you look for your altitude and your location, how long and at what pressure you should be doing these things. What's really cool is that these are going to cook while they are being pressure canned, so that when I open them up, they will be cooked, they will still be firm. These would be great for being used as a potato salad potato, because they won't be too mushy, but they will be fully cooked, and then they won't be hot. So I'm gonna go get this on the stove, and then I will show you what it looks like once it's venting. Okay, so now the steam is coming out. You can see the steam is coming out. We're gonna let that go for 10 minutes. We're gonna put the weight on it, wait till it starts to shake, and then set a timer for 40 minutes. If your weight stops shaking, you gotta start your timer again. If it's shaking too much, then that's a bad thing too. So you gotta find the perfect balance. That is the current plan, after 40 minutes, we're gonna turn it off and then let it sit. Don't touch it until this little guy, which will be up here when it's pressurized, falls back down, and then it will be safe. Then I will show you the jars after that. All right, this is fully cooled. This little guy right here comes up when it's hot, and the pressure, this is what seals the pressure. Once that falls, then you're good. You take this off, there's nothing coming out. You can see the pressure gauge is at 0. Now, there we go. So this is what the jars look like. Now, what I was told, the difference with canning with water and not, is now we need to pull these out and let them rest for 10 minutes and then tighten these rings down. And that's the difference. So let me get set up to do that. So this is what they look like. See, it's got butter down there in the bottom. They discolored a little bit up at the top. I've heard that that happens while you're waiting for it to cook. They'll still taste fine. So I'm gonna put these out and let them cool. All right, it's been 10 minutes, so now I'm going to tighten the rings a little bit. I can handle the jars now. They're not too hot. So now I'm gonna tighten these. Then we're gonna let them sit. We're not gonna touch them. We're going to let them fully seal, which they've already honestly sealed. We're gonna just leave them alone until they are fully and completely cooled. One of the reasons that mine got a little bit discolored is because it took too long for the whole thing come up to temperature, and it started to discolor a little bit. But everybody has said it's totally fine, not a big deal. If you don't want discolored potatoes, put the water over it, and then it'll keep that from happening. So I don't care, because I generally fry things up so crispy you wouldn't even know, and it doesn't taste any different. Again, this is not FDA approved. I don't do a lot of stuff that's FDA approved, though. Let's be real. Sorry, the freeze dryer is really going now, so it's loud. But this is a dry pack canning method, not recommended by the FDA. The disclaimer is out there. You do not have to do this. I am just doing this. I've also heard that dry pack canning, the food is not good for as long. So we're good up until about a year, and then we need to make sure that we eat these. So we've got about a year for this. The ones that are in the water, they will last longer if sealed properly. I'm just telling you what I've been told, so we will see. Anyways, I think that's about everything. So I'm just gonna let these guys very slowly cool. Just chill, not do anything interesting with them. I did a Zoom call and did a recording of a video that's gonna go up. Might be before this, might be after this. I'm not entirely sure. Did that, and then we went to church. So I'm just now getting home and getting around to this. It's 9:30 at night. It's very dark. So that is pressure canning potatoes, and most of our day. I didn't end up recording all of it because we just got so busy doing things. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow we have to build the igloo for the emus to try to protect them from the wind, because bird brain is a real thing and they won't go into the shed to get out of the wind. They want to sleep under the trees. So we're going to attempt to build them a little emu glue to protect them from the wind. And then we also have a pile of wood to move. So that's what our day looks like tomorrow. Just a few more things to do. Oh, and package up the freeze-dried potatoes, get them into their Mylar bag and sealed up, and all good and done. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna cover these up with a towel and let them be. Look into canning, whichever methods you want to use. You get to make that decision. I suggest that you join canning groups on Facebook. I don't even know if this pressure canner is even still available, I will be looking into getting one. I just haven't done it yet. So the more I learn, and I'm kind of learning as I go with you guys, so we can learn together. Sounds like a plan? Awesome. Okay. Thanks so much, guys, for checking in, and I'll see you on the way. That's still recording. Have the potatoes over here. They are peeling in water. Peeling in water. Wow. That will have all, because if we're all work, nobody wants your opinion. Nobody wants to know.
Abby.
Abs,
Okay,
are you having fun up in the tree?
No.
Bella, go stand in the igloo.
Go sit right there. Be cute.
Be cute. Show me. How big are you? Put your arms up. Is that going to help keep the emus warm? Hopefully.
No.
It's not? You mean we just did all that work for nothing?
Yeah.
Well, the tarp isn't up yet. We'll get the tarp up. It'll be good. Abs is like, I'm out. Bye-bye.